Welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today I'm gonna try out Odette, the newest 5-star character, or first 5-star character from Snezhnaya, and I'm really excited for this because she is apparently an amazing stellar conduct support, and that is good for Sandrone, who I'm also a big fan of, and I of course have Sandrone, so we're definitely gonna try them out together. But I'm also gonna try Odette in some non-Sandrone teams, just to see what she is capable of in general. I think we can also use her in like Stellar-Swirl, so that is gonna be interesting. But yeah, without further ado, let's just take a look at her build and then see what she can do. So, my Odette has 2700 attack and 198 element mastery, and she also has 71 crit rate and 187 crit damage and 111 energy recharge, which is probably a little bit too low. I probably should try to get some more energy recharge, but yeah, that is the build for now. And the weapon I'm using is actually the Freedom Sword, since with all the materials I had to farm for her herself, I didn't really have the time to also farm, and the resin to also farm materials for the new Snezhnaya craftable sword for her, which is also a really good free-to-play weapon. So I went for a 5-star limited weapon instead that I had lying around. No one was really using that. I mean, I had it on Manekina, but I don't really ever use Manekina, and it kind of works on Odette as well. And it's actually not that much better than the Snezhnaya craftable, as far as I know. So it's still pretty close to her free-to-play options. And it also kind of just looks good on her. I like it. Freedom Sword has always been a cool weapon, just, I don't know, we didn't really have any characters that could make good use of it. Or the ones that I did have already had better weapons, but now I can finally use it on someone, and that someone is Odette. And as for the artifacts, I'm using a 2-piece combination of attack sets, since I wasn't able to farm the new artifacts yet, at least not enough to have a full functioning 4-piece set for her, so we have to use this for now. And of course I mainly went for crit and attack, as you can see, with an attack sense, attack goblet, and a crit rate circlet. Then as for constellations, she is Z0 and the talents are at level 6, 9 and 7. Her elemental skill is the most important, since most of her damage comes from that. So I prioritized that and didn't really have enough talent books to get everything up to level 9 already. It's just been 2 days since Snezhnaya came out. I don't have the time to farm all day every day. So yeah, this is where she's at for now. There's definitely still some room for improvement, but she should be fine. She should work. So let's see what she can actually do. Now when it comes to teams, the main team I want to use her in is my Sandrone team, of course, which previously was Nicole, Yamiko, Qiqi and Sandrone. I put her in Qiqi's slot for now, but there also might be a chance that it's actually better to replace Nicole instead of Qiqi. I'm gonna test that, see which slot is actually better here. Should we go for Odette, Yamiko, Qiqi, Sandrone, or Nicole, Yamiko, Odette, Sandrone, you know? Who do we kick, basically? Do we kick Nicole or do we kick Qiqi from the team? But yeah, with my previous Sandrone team without Odette, I was able to reach like 140k DPS if I remember correctly. So it's gonna be interesting to see if Odette is pushing that to like over 150 maybe. I'm definitely expecting, of course, a better performance than before. I mean, not that the performance before was bad by any means, but you know, Odette is the new strongest stellar support. Or, well, sub-DPS more than support, but she also has some support capabilities. So I'm definitely expecting the DPS to go up. So yeah, this is the first team we're gonna test her in. So let's go over now to my usual test subject in Inazuma, Masanori, who I'm guessing is probably just gonna die in 2 seconds to Odette. So we might have to go to Kongamato in Natlan straight away, who is a lot tankier. But yeah, let's just try her out here first. And as always in these showcases, I'm gonna start with just using the character on their own. Though I'm gonna apply a bit of Electro first, so you can at least trigger the stellar reactions. So basically just use the skill 2 times and then 126k damage there already. And yeah, then this shadow version of herself also attacks continuously and also can do stellar damage. Well, she's not doing stellar damage right now, since we are not applying enough Electro. But we did see a 20k stellar hit there after the big 126k. So just like that, she's already doing pretty big damage without any big buffs from the rest of the team. So she's definitely a pretty strong character. Now let's apply some Electro again and use the skill against stop blocking Masanori. There we go. Okay, 126 again. Now the burst. What is that doing? Okay, that was a little bit less damage. I didn't see a stellar conduct hit there. Let me read the burst real quick again. Maybe just didn't have enough Electro again. But yeah, okay, it doesn't actually do stellar damage, it seems here. but it does give a stellar reaction damage bonus, so the skill might do some more damage now if we use it again. Like this. Yeah, now it was 267k. Okay, 100k more. Over 100k. Actually, doubled, basically. Doubled the skill damage just from using her burst. Oh my god, that's actually so good. It might also be because of Yae's C1, since I think I triggered a Stellar Conduct reaction there with Yae, instead of just applying Electro, which also triggers her C1. So that might have been a factor here. Let's try to get a skill here with just Odette's burst buff and without Yae's C1 buff to get the actual damage increase here. Yeah, because I was thinking more than twice, that doesn't seem right, you know, since we just looked at the burst and it said here 38%, that's not nearly enough to double the damage. But yeah, basically we wanna use the burst every rotation, I guess, and I don't think I have enough energy recharge for that. So yeah, like I said in the beginning, there's definitely room for improvement. Okay, and it seems like the dark version of here, the summon, doesn't give any energy particles, so we have to use the skill again if you want to get the burst. Okay, so now I'm just gonna restart the battle, and I'm gonna apply some Electro with Yae without triggering the constellation, and then we're gonna burst with Odette, and then use her skill to see how much damage it does. 148k, okay, yeah, that's more, that seems more accurate to the 38% buff. It went from like 120k to 140k, almost 150. So it is still a significant increase, but it's not doubling the skill damage. Yeah, that was a bit much. Okay, so far I'm really liking her. She's doing a lot of damage already, and we haven't even used the full team yet. Ow, that was not very nice. But yeah, talking about the full team, let's just use it. Masanori is gonna die way too quickly now, but let's see. Yeah, okay, no. He couldn't get even one full rotation off here. He's definitely way too frail for a new character like Odette. So let's go over to Natlan now, to my other test subject, Kongamato here, the tankiest overworld boss. And we are just gonna do a full rotation here, hold nothing back, and see how fast we can kill this guy. Now with Odette instead of Qiqi here. Just do this, then we do this, also use her burst to buff Sandrone's stellar damage, and now we should do a lot of damage here. Just the burst. Okay, 650k damage there on the burst. Yeah, that's more than my Sandrone did previously, I'm pretty sure. And Kongamato died so fast that we didn't even get off a full rotation again. Despite him being so much more tanky than Masanori. We were just the beginning of Sandrone's field time, and he was already dead. He was basically almost dead before I even used the burst. The burst just was the finishing blow, but it overkilled him basically, because he did not have 600k HP left at that point. So I need to say, this team is of course incredibly strong, but there is one other thing that I want to try with Odette, aside from using her in a Sandrone team, and that is trying Stellar-Swirl. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this, because I don't really have any Stellar-Swirl characters built. My Mizuki is not built. Do I even have Mizuki in this account? I don't think I do. I have her on my alt account, I know that, but I think on my main account I don't even have her yet. Okay, so yeah, no Mizuki. So who do we use here? I mean, Sucrose is definitely always a good option. So do we just use off-field Sucrose, then have Odette as our sub-DPS, and then put some more sub-DPSs in there? Some cryo ones, maybe? Or we could use Varka as our on-field character here. And Sucrose is also Hexarai, so then we have the Hexarai effect between those two. Odette to activate Stellar-Swirl, and Qiqi to buff it. Does Qiqi actually buff Stellar-Swirl, or is it just Stellar Conduct? Let me check real quick. Okay, she does also increase Cryo-Swirl and Stellar-Swirl reaction damage by 50%, not just Superconduct and Stellar Conduct. They added this update, I'm pretty sure. Don't think that was here before, but yeah, she does buff both of the stellar reactions. That's awesome. So I think we're just gonna put Qiqi here in this team as our 4th slot. Okay, so let's see now how fast we can kill Kongamato with this team. Just gonna trigger Swirl here, use Odette's burst, and then her enhanced skill, and then we unleash Varka. Okay, we're doing some Stellar-Swirl. That's good. Doing pretty decent damage. But it's definitely taking a little bit longer than with the Sandrone team. Still, it's a pretty fast kill of Kongamato here. Yep. Definitely still a pretty good team, and Odette was doing a lot of damage here. But yeah, as expected, it's not quite as good as the Sandrone team. I mean, yeah, it's obvious why. Because Sandrone is actually made for stellar teams. Meanwhile, Varka was just like, I just had this idea, you know, that maybe I could use Varka here. I mean, it kind of works, you know, it's not a bad team. It's not a bad team. Not the best team ever, but definitely not a bad team. It is definitely something you can do with Odette, playing her as a sub-DPS in the Varka team. I mean, you could probably slot her in many teams as long as they have a Nemo or Electro, and she would always be a good sub-DPS in those teams. So kind of a versatile character within the restrictions of the specific elements you need for the stellar reactions. But yeah, now let's actually do some DPS testing at the dummy in the Wonderland to get some actual DPS numbers here. Now, before I actually use Odette here, I wanna do one quick run with my previous Sandrone team with Nicole and Qiqi, which I think I already said it, but in my Yaemiko C1 showcase, this reached around 140k in our best run, but at least 130k even in the worst runs. So let's see how much we can get here, and then we'll see how much it improves with Odette. Okay, 133k there on the first run. That wasn't bad, but we can definitely do better. Sandrone is doing 67% here of the total damage. Very nice. Probably gonna do a little bit less with Odette in the team, since Odette is also gonna do a lot of damage. So the percentage for Sandrone is gonna be lower, I'm guessing. But overall the DPS will go up. But let's do one more run, because we can definitely get closer to 140 with this team. I mean, I have done over 140k with it in the past, so we can definitely get a better run than this. Okay, there we go. That's much more like it. 139 in DPS now, with Sandrone still doing 67% of the damage, so the distribution hasn't really changed. Yaemiko is also doing a lot, with Qiqi and Nicole doing almost nothing. But yeah, Odette is definitely gonna take a bigger chunk of the damage than either Nicole or Qiqi, depending on who I replace here. I mean, I'm gonna try both, like I said in the beginning. So yeah, let's do that now. Let's first replace Qiqi and try that, and then after that I'm gonna replace Nicole instead and keep Qiqi in the team. And we'll see which one is better. And now the question is, where in the rotation do I use Odette? Right after Yaemiko? Probably, to immediately trigger Stellar Conduct, right? And then I set up Nicole's shield last. Or do I go Nicole, then Yaemiko, then Odette? No, I think Yaemiko always has to go first. Yeah, let's do this. Yaemiko first. Then we do Odette's skill, Odette burst, Odette's skill again. Then Nicole, and then we unleash Sandrone. Or maybe Nicole would be better before Odette, since then Odette also gets a damage bonus. 689k damage there, pretty nice. Second rotation now. We're already at over 150, really good, but we don't have Odette's burst for the second rotation. Also, I kind of forgot to use her skill a second time, so I had to switch her in again. Kind of screwing up the rotation, but we are still doing pretty well here on DPS, despite that. Yeah, we're consistently going over 150k there. Really not bad. Yeah, definitely not the best run, not the most clean run here. That is for sure. But despite that, we're doing really well on DPS. Last burst for this run. And yeah, that's it. 3 rotations done, and we are at 153k DPS. A significant increase over the previous runs without Odette. And that's despite me screwing up the rotation several times during this. So yeah, even if you make mistakes, this team is still really good. And everyone here is C0, by the way, except Yaemiko, who you get a constellation for free. So a complete Z0 team did this. And also Yaemiko and Odette don't have the signature weapons, only Nicole and Sandrone do. Let's do a few more runs and see if we can maybe push it over 160k if I do everything right, instead of making a bunch of mistakes. Okay, here we go. Last burst. And we are at almost 170k here. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, we pushed it up by like 15k almost. Yeah, the previous one was just a bad run where I made way too many mistakes. Now I did it way better, and look at it, we have almost 170k. For a moment there we even were over 170k, but then it went down right away again. So this team is basically on par with my Sandbina team, with my C2 Columbina, which was so far my strongest team and my only team that could reach 170k. But now this team is kinda able to do that as well, which is awesome. And it's all thanks to Odette. I mean, it's also thanks to Yamiko C1, and of course, the main DPS Sandrone, and Nicole is an amazing support as well, of course. Everyone here is amazing in this team. They're all so good, and you can tell by looking at the DPS there on the left. But now the question is it actually gonna be better to have Qiqi here instead of Nicole? Let's find out. My Qiqi is, by the way, C3, so this might be different with a C6 Qiqi, but yeah, my Qiqi is not at that point yet. Anyway, let's start this now. Yeah, Nico, then use Qiqi here. Odette, skill, burst, skill again, big damage, and then we unleash Sandrone. Let's see how much damage is the burst gonna do here. Okay, less than with Nicole. So maybe Nicole was better here. We are getting Odette's burst back in time though, that's different. That might make a big difference, that we can actually use Odette's burst every rotation here. Because my Qiqi is holding Favonius, and now we did get over 600k on Sandrone's burst here. Okay, this is maybe closer than I thought. We didn't get Odette's burst for the third rotation here though. So yeah, energy is pretty inconsistent here. Because it depends on whether we proc Favonius or not. But yeah, that's 3 rotations done, and much like on the first try with the other team, we got 153k again. And the damage distribution is, yeah, Sandrone is only doing 49%, now with Odette doing 20%, yeah, 30%, and Qiqi, of course, almost nothing. But now the question is, can we actually push this over 160k like with the other team? If I focus a bit more and don't talk as much. Yeah, didn't get the burst again for the third rotation. Definitely need more energy recharge on Odette, that's for sure. But we did get 160k this time. So yeah, it's definitely better here on the second run, but not quite as good as with the Nicole version of this team. And Sandrone did 51% this time. I'm gonna do one more run to see if I can maybe get a little bit closer to the 167k we got with Nicole. But I'm pretty sure already at this point that this is the worst version of this team. Not bad by any means, since 160k is still insanely good. But yeah, Nicole does seem to be the better option. Oh, wait a minute. Now we're at 168k. Okay, now it's on par with the Nicole team and even a little bit higher. Interesting. Okay, so maybe these teams are actually like about the same, and it just really depends on the rotation, you know, how well you play it, and maybe also how many crits we get. You know, factors like these influence that sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less DPS, even with the exact same team. But it seems like both teams are capable of reaching up to like 167, 168k DPS. Very interesting. So yeah, maybe it doesn't make that much of a difference at all, as long as you execute everything perfectly. So yeah, I guess that means that it actually doesn't matter which one I replace, if it's Qiqi or Nicole. Both of them are really great supports who work well in these teams and result in about the same damage numbers, so yeah, well. That's actually pretty nice. That means we have more options that are not really worse than each other. And the most important takeaway here is that Odette is actually a big upgrade for the team, pushing it from like 130, 140k DPS to around 160. That's an increase of 20k or even more than 20k just from getting this one Z0 character. Very nice. I definitely really like Odette. She feels really nice to play, and I just also still really love her character design. And I'm happy that I have another support for Sandrone now. But yeah, of course, we are not done yet, since we also should try that Stellar-Swirl team with Varka in the DPS dummy. It's probably going to be a lot worse. We're not going to see anywhere close to 150k here. Maybe not even 100k, I'm not sure, but it's definitely worth trying out. Let's just see how much DPS we're getting. I honestly have no idea how much the Varka team is going to be. I'm hoping for at least 100k, but who knows. My other Varka teams are also just around like 80 to 100k, depending on which one I'm using. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've done DPS tests with Varka. So now, show me what you can do, Varka. Okay, we're already at over 60k there. Not bad. Close to 80k. But yeah, definitely could be better. Yeah, we're not getting close to the numbers of the other team. I mean, that was to be expected. But we could still get to like 90k maybe at least. Okay, now seems like around 80k is where this team lands. Well, yeah, I kinda expected that. It's still decent, you know, it's still good enough for at least like Abyss. But in Stygian Onslaught we will probably struggle on Fearless difficulty with this team. Let's see how the damage distribution is here. Okay, Odette is doing 34%. So over half of what Varka is doing. But Varka, to be fair, is actually doing more than Sandrone, percentage-wise. Though, of course, if you look at the numbers besides the percentage, then it's not even close to Sandrone. But yeah, either way, it's a fun team. You know, it might not be the strongest team, but it's fun, and it is strong enough to be viable in Abyss, because you don't really need over 100k DPS for Abyss. Usually around 70 to 80k is enough there, unless there's like a shill boss that you can't get through with your team, because it requires a specific reaction. But I mean, this is a stellar team, so if there's a stellar shill boss, it should work against that. But yeah, I at least wanted to try it, and there are definitely some better Stellar-Swirl teams. This is far from the best you can get out of that reaction. Like, for example, Mizuki is like the main on-field character for Stellar-Swirl. So if you have her, you can definitely try her with Odette. Sadly, I don't have her on this account, so I can't really test that. But I'm pretty sure with Mizuki, you could get over 100k there easily. Well over 100k, probably. But yeah, Varka isn't quite up to it. He's not really made for stellar reactions. Also, can we talk about this new lobby in Mediaster Wonderland? If this is not Penacony, then what is it? Like, this is so Penacony inspired. Even the music, this is straight up just Penacony. They're not even trying to hide it. Last update, or was it the update before the last, I'm not sure. But we had one that was basically Amphorius, and where the outfit we got was basically Castorus. And now we got this, which is Penacony. Like, this is... Mediaster Wonderland is just taking inspiration from HSR. And you know, I don't mind. It's kinda cool. I like it. Anyway, in conclusion, Odette is freaking amazing. She's such a good sub-DPS, especially if you have a good stellar main DPS like Sandrone, and we're definitely gonna get some more in the future. Like the Tsaritsa is probably gonna be a stellar DPS, and some of the other characters as well. And of course, there's also Mizuki as our free-to-play option, or, you know, the Cryo Traveler, who's also really good. I haven't built Cryo Traveler yet, so I can't really test it. And also, I'm probably gonna build him on my free-to-play account, where I really need a stellar character. So I might not be able to try out Traveler and Odette together in a while, but someday I will definitely do that. For now, I can just say that she's definitely a huge upgrade for my Sandrone team, and that was the main thing I was looking for when I pulled for her. Though I would have pulled anyway, even if she had been a bad character, because I just really love her design. And also in the story, she was pretty cool. I already finished the Archon quest, and yeah, Odette is just amazing. Anyway, that concludes this showcase. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, then please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Genshin Impact and other gacha content. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.